Very good day to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Candy Talk here on Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Evans Okinyi. I'm glad that you've joined us for these conversations. I'm here with my resident guest, Wakili Willis Otieno, who is the Deputy Party Leader of Safina Party and a constitutional lawyer. Wakili, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Yes.
I want us to look at what is actually making the headlines and causing jitters in the country. Last time, remember, our Chief of Defense, of course, made some utterances which did not actually go well with a number of people. I can see people are still talking about these things here, and of course that particular event was also attended by top security officials in the country. Do you believe that maybe Kenyans took whatever the CDF said out of context?
You know, our military is a very respected institution.
Yes.
And part of the respect that they've earned from the people of Kenya is they've always remained apolitical. They've kept away from political commentaries. And in my view, it was in bad taste for the CDF to make that kind of a political comment. Even if he has an opinion about it, in terms of the established traditions and customs of that institution, he should have exercised restraint, not to make a comment, good or bad. So you do not want a situation where men in uniform are also developing opinion and expressing those opinions about political discourses. Because that is an avenue that invites the military to start having an opinion and sharing their opinion on political issues. Leave those kind of opinions to civilians. So it was not in good taste for the CDF to make a comment, good or bad. He should reserve his opinions to issues to do with national security and safety, and not comment on political contestations. The Ruto must go is a slogan. It's a political slogan owned by the people of Kenya who want to see change in this country. And when that change is achieved, the military as sworn in their oaths, are supposed to provide security to the nation. It's not to an individual. So that new group will also be expected to enjoy the same security. It's not the duty of this military to deal with the civilian responses or civilian agitations on political questions. That is beyond their depth. And their oath of office and their code of conduct specifically precludes them. In fact, if you look at our constitution, some of the rights that we enjoy are limited in respect to men in uniform. They don't have a right to form a political party. They don't have a right to campaign for a political party. Civilians do. And civilians will do it in a way that we know. So the CDF should, in future, in my view, exercise a bit of restraint and adhere to the code of conduct. Even if Kenyans were saying things that are unpalatable to him, he should keep quiet. If those things are criminal, we have the National Police Service that will deal with it. It's not the military to deal with it. Theirs is to protect our borders. They have nothing to do with internal policing. It's not their role. Unless we're in a state of emergency, then they may have a role. We are not in any of those two. Or they've been specifically deployed with the authorization of Parliament to come and deal with a domestic issue. At this particular point, none of that has happened. So they should comfortably stay in their barracks and not engage in political discourse or render opinion on a political discourse, even if they have an opinion.
Okay. So we expect that even if they have an opinion, they should therefore remain silent.
And if they want to speak about it, they should just remove the uniform and join us in the fray. You don't want to see a situation where General Kahariri, a respected general, is reduced to arguing with Kimani Ichung'wah on Ndindi Nyoro or Oscar Sudi. If he wants to do that, let him remove his uniform and join the MAC. We want the general to maintain his respect and his stature as a foster general that is respected by the people of Kenya and the rank and file of the military. Now he's being reduced to being answered by politicians on funeral platforms. That is how you bring down the
is that why where you can say that he actually got it wrong, that maybe he wasn't alive to the mood in the country, the public perception that would actually be created due to his utterances, or what was it?
No. Even if the mood of the country was, even if he said what is the popular mood, we don't want him to recommend, even in support of Ruto must go. That is not their duty. He should not render publicly his opinion on those issues, whether he supports Ruto must go or he opposes it. We don't need it coming from the military men.
Whether it needs to be done according to the law, it's not for the military.
It is not for him to come and remind us. The people who are saying Ruto must go are aware of the laws.
Yes.
And if at any point it's not within the law, we have the National Police Service to do it as guided by our laws. I'm telling you, the military has no role to play in policing our domestic issues unless specifically deployed by Parliament. Anything else, they are trying to be busybodies. Their work is external borders, protect our sovereignty.
Okay.
Because if we start arguing with them even on protecting our sovereignty, what does it mean? Article 1, the sovereign is the people of Kenya, not William Ruto. Yeah. But for purposes of this discussion, let them stay off. They stay away. Let us deal with our domestic.
Why do you bring in William Ruto when we are talking about the CBO?
Because when people say Ruto must go, it's targeted William Ruto. And the people are saying we are sovereign, Article 1 of our Constitution. Article 37, freedom to demonstrate. Article 29, freedom of expression. We can express ourselves the way we want. And if anybody has a problem, he thinks it is defamatory, we have courts. If he thinks it's criminal, we have courts. They can pursue. The military has no role in that conversation. And as I've said, we want to maintain the respect and dignity of our military. They've served this nation with valor. And we don't want to see that stature diluted.
Talking about the nature of their deployment, because you've said here, unless they've been deployed by Parliament, of course, at that particular event, the CDF also tried to explain, rather justify, why we saw the military personnel on our streets on 25th of June and 26th of June. In the first place, do you still believe that it was done in the right way and they had all the rights now to be on the streets now that they had been deployed by Parliament?
It was illegal. That is why they went and sought parliamentary approval after the deployment.
Yes.
The initial deployment was illegal. They recognized it and went to Parliament the next day. If the act was illegal from the beginning, ab initio, it was illegal. It cannot be cured by a subsequent parliamentary approval. Okay? So all that excess was illegal. And I don't expect the chief of staff to be the one to come and explain to us. Let the ministers, the civilians, explain. It's not for the military. We want to protect the stature and dignity of our military. Let them stay in their quarter. If there need to be an explanation, let the CS defense explain. But not the military men coming out to explain. We don't want to get used to seeing our military men talking to us through the press. Let them talk to us when there's an operation. We are fighting a foreign insurgent. Then they can do the explanation. Or they've been deployed to deal with a domestic issue. Then they can do explanation. None of that has happened. They should maintain the respect and dignity of that institution and spare us any explanations. We don't need it from them. We'll ask the politicians. We'll ask the technocrats in the ministry to do the explanation, not our military men. Because we want to maintain them as a prestigious institution. When you start talking to us, some of these uneducated politicians like Oscar Sudi will start throwing mud at you. So will you be responding to them every day? They'll reduce your stature. We don't want them to do that. Because it is in the interest of the nation that the military's prestige is protected and maintained. That is why we're asking General, just keep off.
Going by that statement alone, do you believe that the perception here would be that maybe now that he's the head of the military in the country, that maybe he has taken sides, and that is why
I will not
it's
say. I will
being
not say he has
called
taken sides.
the wrong way.
Maybe it was just a slip of the tongue. He didn't fully appreciate what their role should be. Yeah, maybe he's now the wiser. I don't expect him to respond to what we've said as politicians after he spoke. We want him to keep quiet and maintain the prestige of the institution. If there be any explanation, let it be done by the CS. And we'll respond to that CS accordingly. We don't expect our general to be addressing us on domestic issues.
Constitutionally, how thick or thin is the civilian space and the military space in the country? Are we that safe in terms of that?
It's a very, I mean, there's clear demarcation. Theirs is external, like, to protect the sovereignty of the people of Kenya and to defend our borders. Very clear. Then in terms of issues that are happening here in domestic, it's left to us, Kenyans, to deal with. Their rights are limited in the Constitution. Our rights are not limited. The ones that are limited are specified. And the manner of limitation. Our right to participate in political discourse, to join political parties, to campaign for a political cause is not limited. Theirs is limited. Okay? Because we want to preserve them. So you should not try to talk about things that have political connotations. That is not for the military. Because if you try to open it up, then before you know it, the entire military, rank and file, will be politicized. They will be campaigning. You'll meet a general saying this, then you meet another colonel saying something else. It's a disciplined force. They must maintain the prestige of that institution. Don't get involved in these political squabbles that we're having. That's all we're asking of them. I don't think it's too much to ask of the military.
Okay. So what is it that is keeping us from going the Sudan way, the South Sudan way, the Somalia way, maybe the countries in the western part of the continent?
But those countries, civilians had arms. They had rebel movements, all of them. We don't have any rebel movement here.
Yeah.
That's we only have the constitution and the people. And it's our right to demand, under Article 1, to exercise our sovereignty directly. Who says we must go the Sudan way, the Somali way? Those are countries that people had arms fighting to liberate themselves. As we are demanding in our constitution. I have not seen any armed military militia in Kenya walking around with guns, bazookas, to shoot anybody, to overthrow a government. I have not seen it. Even if you are to overthrow a government in Kenya, it is peaceful. We are saying we are doing it under Article 1, sovereignty of the people. And we go back to our constitution and elect a new regime. So let no one compare Kenya to Sudan, Somalia, DRC. Those are countries that have armed insurgents who are fighting to take power by the power of the gun. As we are agitating, only using our voices and our constitution. It's different.
The people who actually believe that what the general there said was very important, because if we don't take it seriously, then we may end up like these countries. That
How do we end up like those countries when I've told you those countries they had armed militias?
Okay.
Rebels.
So that is the difference.
Fighting and advancing to chase someone from office. Have you seen Kenyans carrying guns to chase someone from office?
Not really.
So, we are simply saying our constitution allows a direct sovereignty and we want Ruto to go. That's direct exercise, because Ruto is exercising delegated sovereignty. Now the delegate has taken it back. He wants to exercise directly, as allowed in the constitution. But if we are an armed group, an army that is coming to attack, that will be a different conversation. Then you can compare us to those countries. We are not in that space. Those are scare tactics. Those are scare tactics. Paint a grim picture of what will happen if Ruto goes. It's not telling you, look at Sudan, Somali. No. Those scare tactics, reject them. We are not anywhere near those countries. If you're an armed group in the country operating, a rebel movement, then maybe you will say, it can go that route. We don't have any of that. As we only have civilians carrying the constitution and the Kenyan flag. That cannot kill anyone.
Okay. So civilians here who are actually saying that they're fighting a bad government, so to say.
And they're exercising their sovereignty directly. which is permissible in our constitution.
Well, let's wait and see. Of course, that particular statement from the CDF of the country continues to drive and bring in mixed reactions from members of the public. Ladies and gentlemen, weigh in and tell us what you actually think. Allow me stop for now till we have this conversation again. Have yourself a lovely day. My name is Evans Okinyi.